The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team was one win away from reaching the Frozen Four. Were they able to knock off the defending champs?
The women's lacrosse team mounted a serious comeback attempt. See if they were able to get a win. And a former basketball player is trading in their sneaks for spikes. Find out who.
All that and more for the next 30 minutes. This is Sports Paws. Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Studio 125. I'm Liz Flynn.
And I'm Shane Dennehy. It was another busy week for Quinnipiac Athletics, and we will get you all caught up. Let's start in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where the Quinnipiac men's hockey team made a return to the NCAA tournament for the first time since the 2015-16 season. Let's see how they fared against newcomers Arizona State, who was making their NCAA tournament debut. Quinnipiac making a return to the NCAA tournament, while Arizona State making its debut in only its third year at the Division I level. Rand Pecknold with the experience advantage over Greg Powers. To the first period we go. Quinnipiac would get off to a quick start, obviously, but here we go. Now to the first period. Quinnipiac looking for that quick start, and that's exactly what they got. Hamden's own Joe O'Connor gets the party started as he throws the puck to the front of the net. It slides through Joey DeCord's 5-hole. Let's slow this one down as O'Connor whips to the puck to the front of the net and gives the Bobcats a 1-0 lead only 4 minutes into the first. To the second we go with Quinnipiac up 1-0. Alex Whalen doing the same thing, whipping the puck to the front of the net, and Sweden's own William Falstrom gets that one. DeCord again spills the rebound, and William Falstrom able to capitalize on that rebound. You know, DeCord really struggling to handle the puck so far. And then Scott Davidson taking the blast off the puck, taking it from Dominic Garcia. That one's definitely going to leave a mark. Onwards to the third we go. Arizona State captain Brinson Pasnuck showing everyone that Chase Prisky isn't the only defender in this game that can handle the puck. He risked that one past everyone, and Quinnipiac holding on to a 2-1 lead. Now, Quinnipiac a little shaky in the third, getting close as they blew the lead against Brown. Johnny Walker, Arizona State's leading goal scorer, rattles that one off the post. Unfortunate for Arizona State. And then somehow, some way, this puck doesn't go in the net. Andrew Shortridge and the Bobcats lucky. No idea how that didn't cross. And then Nick Germain getting blindsided. Jared Gorley sends Nick Germain into the boards. That would be a penalty. 5 minutes for boarding. Freshman showing a lot of poor discipline right there in the big moments. The Sun Devils, although they would get one final opportunity, they would be down, and then empty net. Unfortunate for them, they couldn't get it to go. Quinnipiac wins this one 2-1 and advances to the Midwest Regional Final against defending national champions Minnesota Duluth. T30's men's hockey beat reporter Jonathan Bank has more on Quinnipiac's first round win. Jonathan?
The Quinnipiac Bobcats are moving on in the NCAA tournament. Rand Pecknold's squad took down Arizona State 2-1 on Saturday night. William Falstrom and Joe O'Connor got the goals going for the Bobcats, but Arizona State responded with their first goal with 8 minutes left to make it a 1-goal deficit. At that moment, Quinnipiac captain Chase Prisky had a simple message for his team.
You can't worry about the mistakes. Like, mistakes are going to happen in the game of hockey. You just got to go out there, and it's all about how you respond to your mistakes.
A turning point in the game came when Jared Gordley was ejected for hitting from behind on Quinnipiac's Nick Germain with 3:44 left in the third period. With the power play and a chance to steal the win, head coach Rand Pecknold expected more of his team in the late moments of the game.
For having the number 3 power play in the country, it was pretty bad. It was poor execution. I thought we panicked a little bit.
You know, I mean, we were all over them. We did all we could to tie that thing up and just couldn't buy one.
Although his name didn't show up on the stat sheet, Pecknold was full of praise for his captain as a difference maker in the contest.
He's just he's pretty special. 25 years of Quinnipiac. I've been really lucky to have some good captains. He's right up there with one of the best I've ever had.
Arizona State captain Brinson Pasnuck knows the culture of the program he helped develop will have the Sun Devils become a college hockey power sooner rather than later.
How about Brinson Pasnuck?
It's threatening to be the best program in the country, and it will be here very soon.
Anybody that says we didn't belong here, if they think that we didn't deserve or earn the right to be here, they're wrong.
Arizona State's run in the NCAA tournament ends here, but the Quinnipiac Bobcats are still dancing. They'll take on Minnesota Duluth, the defending national champions, here in Allentown tomorrow night. It's the first ever meeting between these two teams. Reporting from the PPL Center, Jonathan Banks, Q30 Sports.
Well, the Midwest regional final was set, and it would be Quinnipiac versus the defending national champions, the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. And as you can see here from our full screen, this is a very tight matchup. Records and goals per game are nearly identical, but one thing to take note of is the goals against average. Shortridge and Shepherd are both semifinalists for the Mike Richter Award, which goes to the most outstanding goaltender, and you can see that here. Quinnipiac is slightly better on the power play, but not by too much, so this is definitely a game to watch in the tournament. Now let's take a look here at the game itself. Now, while this is the first matchup ever for these two teams, neither of them are strangers to the playoffs, as they have been seen in the championship 4 times in the past 6 years. Minnesota Duluth winning last year, runner-up the year before, Quinnipiac the runner-up before that, and then a couple of teams there in between. Nothing much happened in the first period, so we are going to head right into the second. Quinnipiac was on the power play, but nothing happened there. So at the end of their power play, you see William Falstrom break in, but Hunter Shepherd makes a pad save by the left post. And that goes past it once again, so let's see a little bit slowed down. Great effort by Falstrom, but it will not go, and we are still scoreless. 5 minutes left into the second period. Still in the second, Sweeney at the point will pass it over to Paranovich, who then sends it back over to Peter Krieger, and he will score to give the Bulldogs a 1-0 lead. You see the defensive effort here by DeLibertor and DeYoung, but for Quinnipiac, Shortridge just could not get the glove on it in time. Just a great effort by the Bulldogs to put them up. Now we head into the third period, and it is do or die for Quinnipiac. Whalen with the wrister and the loose puck for Rafferty, but that goes off the side of the net. 2 quick chances here for Quinnipiac, but it would not go. 5 minutes left in the game, and Duluth has a 3-on-1. Miller passes it over to Roth, who sends it just over Shortridge, and the Bulldogs now lead 2-0. You see here that Chase Pritzky was the lone defender in this rush, and he did attempt to cut off the angle for Miller, but the pass still got through over his stick, and things are not looking good for Quinnipiac at this point. Just a tough effort by Pritzky, couldn't get over in time, and goes right past Shortridge there. However, Mikey Anderson is in the box for Duluth with just over 3 minutes remaining. Quinnipiac has 6 players on the ice. Rafferty will keep it in the zone and send it to Craig Martin, who rips one right over the shoulder of Shepherd, and the Bobcats are on the board. 2 minutes left remaining in the game, and the Bobcats now have some life in them. Let's slow this down and take another look at it. Craig Martin wide open and snipes it past Shepherd. Unfortunately, that would be all for Quinnipiac, as Peter Mackay will score an empty net goal to send Minnesota Duluth to Buffalo. The final score is Bulldogs 3, Bobcats 1. We now hear from men's ice hockey beat reporter Kyle Lavasser with some final thoughts on the team's season.
From southern New England, Minnesota Duluth, the reigning national champions from a hockey state. A 3-1 loss shatters the Bobcats' hope of returning to a Frozen Four, but their pursuit for prominence in college hockey has been restored.
I had a fantastic 4 years, something I wouldn't trade for the world. Really lucky to be able to play with a lot of former teammates that have mentored me, and then tried to do my job this year to mentor some of the younger guys. So I think for me it was just leaving a mark on this program.
Last year when the season ended, the returners took it to themselves to turn this program around and restore the culture. And it obviously sucks right now to fall just 2 goals short of a Frozen Four, but it was a really good season, and hopefully we can build on it into next year.
Disappointing for us to have our season end, but really proud of the effort that we had with this year. Last year was our first losing season in 20 years, and I think we got the program back on track this year with a trip to the Elite Eight and 26 wins.
The loss closes the door on Quinnipiac's season, but there is still hope for next year. The Bobcats return plenty of underclassmen who are trying to build off this year's success into next season. Reporting from the PPL Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania, I'm Kyle Lavasser, Q30 Sports.
With this win over Quinnipiac, Minnesota Duluth is back in the Frozen Four, as it will look to repeat as national champions. The Bulldogs will take on the Princeton Friars of Hockey East on the other side of the bracket. First-year head coach David Carl has the Denver Pioneers back in the Frozen Four. The Pioneers will take on Cale Makar and the UMass Minutemen in the other semifinal. The Frozen Four starts in 2 weeks at the KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. Now let's bring in the man who doesn't sleep, Quinnipiac men's ice hockey beat reporter MJ Baird. MJ, what went wrong for the Bobcats against the Bulldogs?
Shane, just so everyone knows, I do sleep. Maybe not enough, but I do sleep. Well, To answer your question, Shane, what went wrong for the Bobcats? A couple things. Let's look at some footage of why. So first, this first clip here, as you can see, 0-0 game in the first period. Quinnipiac loses the draw, and freshman William Falstrom kind of just turns the puck over. From here, the Bobcats are forced to play defense. You'll see as the clip goes on, the Bobcats don't get the puck out of the zone. Alex Whalen tries to go high off the glass, but can't. Minnesota Duluth was playing offense this entire game. Quinnipiac did not have many chances to get in the offensive zone and set up. Therefore, their players were tired. Minnesota Duluth was getting the changes they wanted. Quinnipiac, as soon as they got the puck out, had to go for a change, and it was just a vicious cycle like that. Let's have a look at another clip. This one here is going to be Minnesota Duluth's first goal. As you can see, the penalty has just expired, full strength in the top right. Now, you saw this in the highlight, but I want to break it down a little further. Check out this patience, right? On the far side, we're going to slow it down and see it one more time. Don't worry about that. It'll come through in just a second. Check out the patience in the pass across the crease. Yes, the Bobcat defenders are kind of selling out for this play, but it goes back to what I was saying before. All these guys had been out there. They had just killed a penalty, very tired. And when you're tired, at the end of your shift, you're kind of just going through the motions. Minnesota Duluth did a great job baiting Quinnipiac and then striking at the end of shifts when they had the chance. All right, another one now. As you can see, Minnesota Duluth up 1-0 here. They're going to make it. The Bobcats are going to make this one a 2-1 game. So you saw this goal in the highlight, Craig Martin with an absolute snipe. But let's break down this one a little bit further. Minnesota Duluth has a chance to clear. Rafferty keeps it in, but Craig Martin, he beats Shepard in the only place you're going to score a goal there. Hunter Shepard is a fantastic goaltender, and he scores this one because Martin's a sniper. That's all he is. So he scores that one, and the Bobcats make it a 2-1 game. All right, next. We're going to jump back in time a little bit here. It's a 1-0 game, and Quinnipiac is trying to get back to this game, right? You see 5 minutes, 12 seconds left in the game, and that's Brogan Rafferty who's way up in the play. When the Bobcats are down by a goal late in this game, you need to make some decisions, and some of those decisions can be have your defense pinch. Rafferty pinches, doesn't make the play, and there goes Duluth the other way. Now, it's a 3-on-1. You can't expect Prisky to do much of it, but check out Rafferty here. He doesn't exactly get back as much as he could, but he was out of the play. Falstrom on the back check does a good job, but ultimately it's a 3-on-1. You expect the Bulldogs to score there, and they do. And we got one final play for you guys. Like I said, Shane, Quinnipiac was tired this whole game, but at the end of the game, they had some chances. Check this one out. A loose puck in front, the goaltender is not even looking, and it doesn't go in the back of the net. This is kind of the story of the game for the Bobcats. A weird carom off the glass. That's Odin Tufto in front. The puck's on edge. It flips. He can't get a clean shot. Ren Pecknold mentioned the ice was an issue in Game 1. He didn't say anything about it in Game 2, but you can't expect it got any better just one day after 4 teams skated on it. So I think the ice had a factor. Quinnipiac just didn't play their A game against Minnesota Duluth. They would have needed to if they wanted to win. And just Shane and Liz, they really didn't have a 100% good game, and I don't think that's why they won.
Tremendous stuff as always, MJ. And, like it always happens, Quinnipiac junior defenseman Brogan Rafferty signed a 1-year entry-level contract with the Vancouver Canucks of the NHL following last night's loss to Minnesota Duluth. Rafferty was the 7th leading scorer for Quinnipiac with 24 points. Because Rafferty is 23, he is only eligible to sign a 1-year deal after this season. Rafferty will be a restricted free agent, and he will be able to sign a non-entry-level deal this upcoming summer.
We gave you a lot of information there, and we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, men's lacrosse looks to continue its hot streak, and a key player gets rewarded for their efforts.
The baseball team welcomed in 2 New England teams this week for some out-of-conference baseball before returning to conference play. And one Quinnipiac team had quite the impressive comeback win. Don't close that browser. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. The Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team traveled up to Loudonville, New York in search of their third straight win to start MAAC play. We'll jump right into the third quarter where the Bobcats are trailing 7-5. Foster Cuomo and Tyler Mackay softening up the Siena zone with some passing, as you'll see right here. Really working back and forth, that's what you gotta do. Siena trying to bust out that zone, affect Quinnipiac's offense. Mike Fletcher cranks that ball to the back of the net for his 10th goal of the year. Siena now leads 7-6. Quinnipiac trying to mount the comeback. Now to the fourth quarter, Quinnipiac and Siena tied at 9. Jack Kiernan would quickly end that. Kiernan gets Quinnipiac defender twisted and turning and goes to the front of that, and he scores his 23rd goal of the year. Saints up 10-9. Quinnipiac would then tie the game at 10. Now it's Foster Cuomo time in Loudonville. The senior uses his favored left hand to score and give the Bobcats an 11-10 lead. Cuomo doing it all for the Bobcats, and Cuomo celebrating with his teammates now. Cuomo gonna finish this one off. Empty net. Siena goalie in no man's land. Quinnipiac wins this one 13-10, turning its 6th straight game and move to 3-0 in MAAC play. The Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team will travel to Buffalo, New York next weekend as it looks to extend its 6-game winning streak. Canisius currently sits at 5-4, including an 8-6 win over then number 19 Colgate. These are the second and third highest scoring teams in the conference. Quinnipiac will rely on its slight advantage at the face-off dot to gain some extra possessions against Canisius. The Bobcats and Golden Griffins will face off at 3 p.m. on Saturday. For the second week in a row, Quinnipiac men's lacrosse senior attacker Foster Cuomo earned MAAC Offensive Player of the Week honors. Cuomo had 5 goals and 2 assists in Quinnipiac's 13-10 win over the Siena Saints. Cuomo was his Bobcats' second leading scorer with 18 goals and 24 points. Cuomo trails only Jake Tomsick in those categories.
We are not going to leave the turf just yet. Let's see how women's lacrosse fared against the defending MAAC champions, Fairfield. It was Faculty and Staff Appreciation Day, so prior to the game, the staff members lined the field to help welcome the Bobcat starters. Allison Kuhn comes through her teammates, and then you see all the faculty and staff welcoming her to the start of the game. We start in the first half, and Megan Swislowski, you see here, will go up and rifle one right past the goaltender, and this will not be the last time you hear from her in this match. Still in the first half here, the game is tied 1-1, but Allison Kuhn makes her voice heard on the woman up and scores her 26th goal of the year to put the Bobcats up 2-1. Now on the other side, Stags midfielder Kelly Horning scores to tie this one up once again at 2 apiece. You'll see this will become a theme as the game was constantly back and forth throughout the entirety of the first half. 1 minute left in the first half, and Swislowski is back to tie the game up at 5 after burying a free position goal. And that will be it for the first half. Into the second half now. You heard her twice. Here she is a third time. Swislowski breaks the tie and scores her 3rd hat trick of the season. Quinnipiac now leads 6-5. Unfortunately, this is the last lead the Bobcats would see as Fairfield ties it up once again, and Kelly Horning scores one again off a rebound to give the Stags a 7-6 lead. The Bobcats scored 2 late goals but would not complete the comeback and fall to the Stags 9-8. This loss drops them to 0-2 in MAAC's play this season.
This team is playing like warriors. They're learning that the grit kind of wins games, and so the battle is what we talk about a lot, and they're doing a really nice job trying to find those battles and winning them. We just fell a little short today.
Sticking with women's lacrosse, the team then took the trip to Buffalo to play Canisius on Saturday afternoon. The Bobcats were down 9-4 after the first half, but mounted a tremendous comeback in the late of the second period to tie up the game, 13-13. One overtime would not do it, but junior Amy Hauserwood would be the deciding factor for Quinnipiac, scoring the game winner in double overtime. Megan Swislowski and Allison Kuhn each tallied up 6 points, and goaltenders Allie Kelsey and Sammy Walter racked up 8 saves in the contest. Now for some women's lacrosse fast facts on the duo of Kuhn and Swislowski. These two attackers have combined for 52 of the team's 113 total season goals in 2019. This accounts for 46% of all Quinnipiac scoring, so clearly without these two, we would not know where this team would be at.
The Quinnipiac baseball team lost to the Rhode Island Rams 5-4 on Tuesday, and Andre Marrero continued his hot start to the season as he went 2 for 3 to extend his hitting streak to 8 games. Anthony Cruz and Brian Mosky both had 2 hits, each of them hitting a single and a double. Quinnipiac had a 4-2 lead after the 4th inning, but the Rams kept charging, and they eventually scored the go-ahead run in the top of the 9th. The baseball team continued their out-of-conference schedule with a matchup against the Dartmouth Big Green on Wednesday. The Big Green beat the Bobcats 9-2. Andre Marrero again continuing to be a presence in the box score, as he extended his hitting streak to 9 games. Marrero also had an RBI in his 6th straight game. Dartmouth were looking to shut out Quinnipiac, but Q had other ideas and scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. When we come back, the Quinnipiac Softball team announced the addition of a new player to its roster this weekend, someone that Quinnipiac sports fans are very familiar with. Find out who.
And we share our top 5 plays of the week from NCAA play in spring sports. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Glad to see you've stuck with us. The Quinnipiac baseball team looked to bounce back from its loss against Dartmouth last week with a 3-game weekend series at Niagara. The Bobcats dominated this Saturday doubleheader, defeating the Purple Eagles 7-1 in the first game and 7-2 in the second. Liam Scaffarello ripped 2 home runs in the first game, and Tyler Poulin kept Niagara from scoring until the 8th inning. Andre Marrero extended his hitting streak to 11 games, and Chris Enns led the way in Game 2 with 6 innings of work. The Bobcats would complete the sweep on Sunday by a score of 3-1.
The Quinnipiac softball team lost both games of their doubleheader against Brown on Tuesday. Brown beat Quinnipiac 4-2 in Game 1 and 6-2 in Game 2. In Game 1 of the doubleheader, Quinnipiac took a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first thanks to an RBI double by senior Rebecca Drake. Quinnipiac cut Brown's lead to 1 after scoring its second run of the game after an error by Brown. Brown scored its 4th run in the top of the 7th to finish off Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac once again got off to a 1-0 start in Game 2 thanks to a Brie Larson home run in the second inning. Brown scored 4 runs in the top of the 3rd and then 2 more in the top of the 5th to sweep the doubleheader. Quinnipiac looking to start MAAC play with a win over Manhattan. Quinnipiac ace Kendall Brundrat warming up before the first pitch. You know, Quinnipiac and Manhattan. Quinnipiac trying to get off to a hot start. Hillary Barrow, the new head coach, and Kendall Brundrat taking over the reins as the ace for this Quinnipiac team. We head to the first. Bases loaded here for Bridget Nazer, who draws a walk, and Rebecca Drake walks home to score the first run of the game for Quinnipiac, up 1-0. good start for Quinnipiac, obviously, in the first inning. Lo Yarnell steps up to the plate with the bases still loaded. As the next batter, she drills a single to right field, and Aaron Larson able to score. Quinnipiac leads 2-0 after the first inning. To the third we go. KU's still up 2-0. The Jaspers have a runner on third, but I guess Adriana Gambino didn't read the pregame notes. You don't run on Danielle Sorensen. Sorensen throws out Gambino at home to preserve the Bobcats' lead. 7th inning now with the Bobcats still leading. Bridget Douglas calls off Rachel Marchuk right here. A little questionable, but Regis Douglas gets the job done. Quinnipiac wins that one 2-0 over Manhattan and sweeps the doubleheader and wins game 1 of the doubleheader. And obviously a very familiar face for Quinnipiac sports fans is Jen Fay. Been a fixture on the women's basketball team for the past 5 seasons, but she's actually trading in her sneaks for spikes, like I mentioned earlier, and she's actually going to be a member of the softball team now. And you know, it's been a few years since she has played, Liz, but you know, now she's going to be joining them. She played in high school, so it's going to be a little interesting to see how she fares. But you know, new softball head coach Hillary Barrow, I'm assuming, is going to hope that Faye's winning mindset will help rub off on her new teammates as Barrow hopes to mold her squad into a consistent winner in the MAAC.
And this is not surprising to me whatsoever. If it were to be anyone on the women's basketball team, it had to be Jen Fay.
Yeah, she's quite the athlete. And some of her passes this year, you know, she's quite the thrower. You know, her overhand passes were quite impressive, and no doubt that helped to Hillary Barrow.
Very excited to see where she ends up.
Yes, and the Quinnipiac Acrobatics and Tumbling team traveled to Erie, Pennsylvania this weekend for a meet against number 8 Gannon. Prior to the meet, Gannon was undefeated, but Quinnipiac came out on top 276.590 to 270.950. The Bobcats tied a season high in every category during the meet. Quinnipiac will return to Lender Court for its final regular season meet against Alderson Brodus at 1 p.m. on Saturday.
It is now time for the top 5 plays of the week. Shane, I'll take the odds, you take the evens, and let's get rolling. Number 5, we go to the turf for men's lacrosse. Jack Heerden puts the move on Quinnipiac's Bryce Knowles, and as you can see here, he completely fights through the contact and will score the goal past Nick DiMuccio for his 23rd goal of the season. Quinnipiac would still go on to win this one, though, 13-10.
Number 4, we're going to head back to the softball field. Danielle Sorensen with a little number 24 on 24 crime as she guns out Manhattan's Adriana Gambino at home. Quinnipiac would sweep the weekend series against the Jaspers and now get off to a 5-0 start again in MAAC play.
Number 3 takes us to the baseball diamond. Benny Serrano makes a full body extension in left field for the insane diving catch, and you can see it again slowed down. The Bobcats would sweep that weekend series against the Purple Eagles 3-0.
Number 2, Quinnipiac in desperation mode as it trails Minnesota Duluth by 2 goals, but senior Craig Martin showing some fight as he sends the puck into the roof of the net. Put Quinnipiac on the board 2-1. Minnesota Duluth would hang on and advance to the Frozen Four.
And our number 1 play of the week comes from the men's ice hockey matchup against Arizona State. The question that describes this play is, how did Joe O'Connor get this to go in? Quinnipiac would take this one against Arizona State and move on.
Unfortunate ending right there for Quinnipiac men's hockey team, Liz. Now let's take a look at some of the upcoming games for Quinnipiac Athletics. The Quinnipiac women's lacrosse team will look to carry over its momentum from its win over Canisius when it welcomes the Niagara Purple Eagles to Hamden on Saturday. The men's lacrosse team makes the 8-hour bus ride up to Buffalo to take on the Canisius Golden Griffins on Saturday.
And the Golden Griffs baseball team will be taking the trip to Hamden for a noon matchup against the Bobcats on Saturday as well. And the softball team will take the short trip to New Haven on Wednesday to take on the Yale Bulldogs in an afternoon doubleheader.
Although the Quinnipiac rugby team's season did not end with another national championship, one of its players is still up for the most prestigious award in women's collegiate rugby. Quinnipiac senior outside center Emily Roscoff has been nominated for the M.A. Sorensen Award. The award is given to the top player in women's collegiate rugby. Alona Marr won the award for Quinnipiac in the 2017 season, following Quinnipiac's 2nd straight national title. The winner will be announced on June 8th. Roscoff is currently in 14th place out of 15th place in the fan vote.
Well, 30 minutes have come and gone, and that is all the time we have for tonight. But be sure to check out all of our content on Q30TV.com and follow us on Twitter at Q30Sports.
From all the producers and all the people behind the scenes, she's Liz Flynn, I'm Shane Dennehy. Have a great week, Bobcats.